Let's look at the patient intake flow. To get started, you log in. Now, when you log in, you're presented with the dashboard. On the dashboard, you see a quick overview of the system, how many patients there are, available beds, and appointments that have been created today, as well as the doctors on duty. Now, you're presented with the quick links section and the patient flow, the patient search, appointments queue, the diagnosis mix, your lab queue, financial snapshots, pending prescriptions, recent admissions, and inventory alerts. For the dashboard, you can reorganize it so that the information that you want to see is always right at your fingertips or in whatever format that's more convenient for you. So for example, if you want to see the lab queue first, you can drag that above. If you want to see diagnosis mix as well, you can drag that up. So you can have the cards in whatever. You can have the cards in whatever order you prefer. Now, to add a patient to the system, you come to Patients and you click on Register Patient. Now, all the fields on this page are optional except for the first name, the last name, gender. Those are all the fields that you need to provide. But you do need to provide a date of birth. So if the date of birth is not available, you would have to provide an estimated age in years, or for babies, an estimated age in months. Now, it would not let you proceed unless you provide one of these, right? So if you don't have the date of birth, you can provide an estimated age in years or months, and that's when it will let you proceed. So let's create a patient. We don't have a date of birth, so let's just go with an estimated age of 32 and the gender. So this is all the information that's required to proceed, but let's go ahead and fill out the rest. Now, if the patient is a staff of the facility, you can Google it and then provide the designation and staff ID. In this case, we'll just leave it out. And contact information. State and the local government. Now, for patients that are insured, you select their insurer, and this list is from the system settings. So if there is an insurer here that is not listed, contact your facility admin and they'll get that sorted for you. Now, when the insurer is selected, HMO ID and relationship to policyholder become required as well. The relations. Now, is the relation that you've just entered the next of kin? Yes. And you can go ahead and add. So you can add multiple relations as needed. The blood group, genotype, then any notes for that patient. You can leave this blank or you can enter any information. Then allergy information for that patient as well. A type, allergy. The criticality. Okay, so we can go ahead and add. And for diseased patients, that information can also be specified. So the dates diseased as well. So you can go ahead and save the patient record. Yes. So now our patient is saved. Now the named field is only visible when the mouse is over it. Now this is our patient's profile. The allergies are there. Now to upload documents for the patient, right, you come down to the bottom of the page and you have the patient documents as well. Now, just like the dashboard, this section can also be reorganized. So you can move your fields to make them in your preferred order. You can sort them out to be the order that you prefer. So let's upload a document for our patients. Choose a file. In this case, we're just going to select an image, but it can be an image or a PDF. So our document has been uploaded. We can now view our documents. Also, the patients can have an image. They can have their image added to the system. So if you didn't do that while creating the patient, you can come to Edit Record and you can select an image for that patient. As always, it's important to select files with smaller sizes. So we can go ahead and save. And now the patient has their image added. To print the patient's profile, you click on Print Profile. And there you can print the profile for the patient. So it's also possible to delete patient records, but most facilities would have this disabled, as yours would likely too, since the idea of the system is that the records created are permanent. So as part of the demo, you'd see it, but your facility would most likely have this disabled. You can add a note for the patient. And that note gets added to the patient's profile. So now we want to book this patient for an immediate appointment. To book an appointment, you click on Book Appointment on the patient's profile. So the system tells us under or next to visit classification that this is a new visit since no prior appointments were found for this patient. It would also flag as or mark it as a new visit if the patient last visited outside the follow-up visit window. Now, our appointment type is immediate, but you can also have it as scheduled for future appointments. The visit type, you have general, ANC, and immunization. In this case, we'll go with general. For the department, I'll select the dental clinic. Now, when you select a preferred doctor, the patient would only show up on the queue for that doctor. In this case, we want the department, so we'll set it to any doctor in that department. Now, you can include a note, but that's optional. By default, the patient is sent to the queue for nursing. For the vitals to be collected, you can turn that off or you can leave it on. It's up to you. And then because this is a new visit, you have some billables that have been added automatically. Once again, this is up to you. On your end, in settings, you can change which billables are required, if any. You can also add more billables. And if there's any billable that's not here, you just talk to your facility admin and then they'll add that. So now that that's done, you go ahead and create the appointments. You get marked that this patient now has an ongoing visit. They have an outstanding payment because of the billables that were added. So that is it for booking patients' appointments. Going back to our dashboard, we can see our list of patients, right? So we can search through our list of patients. We can access them from the modal here or from the card here. We can click to view patients and go back to their profile. And that is it for working with patients' data and creating appointments. Going back to the patients list or the list of patients, I can search for a patient here. Now you can also filter for patients. So for example, if you want to see patients that are admitted, you can quickly do that from here. There are no admitted patients, so there are no records to display. You can filter for insured patients. You can also sort. So you can sort by patient name and then have it in ascending order. You can sort by their IDs, their medical records number. You can sort by the time they were created and when the patients were last updated. Now, the table gives you just a quick overview of the patients. So their name and ID, age and gender, their insurance status, phone number, last visits, status, and actions. And these are the things that you need when working with patients. Now, after the patient's data have been collected, you have your reports and analytics. So you come to the reports section of the page. You click on patients and you see that in the last 30 days, there have been 21 patients. 4 of these patients are new. There have been 4 consultations and just 1 person has been admitted. You can see the diagnosis, the trends, symptoms, the age distribution, and then the breakdown by departments. Right now, the data you can filter out, you can filter by departments as well. You can select the days, all right, or you can export the data. So coming to diagnosis, you can filter again as well, right? But then you can also convert the diagnosis to IDSR. So by default, the system uses the ICD coding for diagnosis. But for your reports, if you prefer or if you need to, you can convert to an IDSR and it'll display as that. And you can export that data and have it for your own use, and then you work with it. So that's about it for patient records.